This is the Carwash on Soccer Laduma Radio. Sizohlangana khona.
Football gods were not on Bidvest Vit's side though, and Gavin Hunt, we can't bring up the clip, but I have the quote. After the match, he said, "We end up losing the game. The same player, and I'm gonna say it again. He cost us the whole season. He's cost us 2 goals again tonight. It's unacceptable." And he doesn't mention the name, but if you watch the game, you know it's Sifiso Hlanti. So, what do you make of Gavin laying that much blame on a single player?
Sure,
That's Hlanti for you.
it's a. I don't know how to answer that. Is it the right thing to do? I don't know. I mean, like you said, that's Hlanti.
Yeah.
There's not many coaches that do that in public.
Yeah.
And again, he doesn't mention the player's name, but it's quite obvious if you watch the game who the player is. And he's a senior player. I presume he's one of the highest paid, if not the highest paid player there as well. Full international. There was talk of him leaving overseas beginning of the season. That obviously didn't materialize.
It might not now.
And it definitely doesn't look like it's going to now. Interesting, Teko. I mean, I don't know. I can't get my head around a coach saying that in public, to be honest.
Chief, you'll be surprised stuff that coaches say. And with Gavin also, if you remember the game when they played against Highlands Park, I think Tyson made fouled the player inside the box, and then they had to equalize. It was a penalty. I think they equalized with that. The post-match, he was livid. He was angry. And you could see that he wanted to kill Tyson, but he kept on withholding himself. I was like, I know Gavin wants to say something. So now when he comes up and say this kind of things, that's Gavin, especially when the frustrations are there and he's not winning the way he's supposed to be winning, especially the games that he actually think that he's supposed to be winning. I think it's normal for coaches to be that frustrated, because at the end of the day, when the team doesn't win, they're the first ones to go out. You know, the first ones to get fired. But also it's something that I wouldn't condone, because at the end of the day, come next week, you still need the same player to actually perform for you. So if you're saying Hlanti is the one that cost us the league, how many games has he played this season? Why you kept on playing him? Why don't you find a
I don't know any other coach that has done this. Even Mushin, as crazy as he was, would never kill his players.
Yeah.
Peter used to do that long time ago when Peter was a super sport. Chief.
Really?
Yeah. Nowadays, you almost see this kind of like blind support, where you almost see this blind support. And you mentioned Pizzo. I remember with the Sereno situation. Sereno literally slaps 2 players on the pitch. Pizzo defends him to death.
Damn straight.
That like he doesn't say anything bad about it. He's like, no, you see what Nurkovic did for He starts pointing fingers at other players.
But having said that, I believe Gavin would do that as well.
Yeah.
I think Gavin's the first one there to stand up for his players.
Yeah.
And he's one of the players. He might be a bit crazy, but he is the first one to stand up for his players. But in terms of how he handled this, I'm not convinced.
Yeah. What do you do if you're Sifiso Hlanti now? Like, what's your mindset after seeing a post-match like that?
Sloo, the answer's simple, and Teko will agree with me 100% here. You get your ass training, you put 100% in,
Of course.
and you prove him wrong.
That's
the only
it.
answer.
And sometimes, Lou, like Sean, you're right. Sometimes, Lou, you get coaches that actually push you by saying such things for you to prove to them.
Yes,
that you're
maybe
still good.
this drives Sifiso.
Maybe this is the way. And I wouldn't mind a coach does that, because at least I know where I'm standing with the coach, instead of sugarcoating things. I'll prefer to have a coach like that who will say, you know what, Donna today played. I don't understand why I'm still playing him. Of course, it's painful to hear, but also it's one of those situations where it builds a player's character.
But I think maybe one-on-one.
Yeah, of course, you'll discuss one-on-one, but maybe the chances are there have been discussions
Sure.
one-on-one with
Correct.
the whole season, and you still see the same that you've been talking about the whole season. Of course, you'll get frustrated.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Gavin is not a stupid coach. He knows what he's talking about. But sometimes with the frustrations that goes on, the emotion that comes in with the game, sometimes you say things that you actually regret.
Yeah.
And by dealing with such incident and saying such things, and you must understand this guy as a family, they actually watching the game, the kids are watching the game. So when you say those type of things on TV, sometimes it's not nice. You'll say like, we prefer 1v1 in the room. Let's fight. Let's have those things. But I've heard coaches say stuff. Benny used to say after a game, would say, I wish you can put gloves and go into the dressing room and fight everyone in the dressing room. Coaches say stuff that they don't actually mean. And sometimes you be like, as a coach, you be like, if for us who are outsiders will say, but that coach shouldn't supposed to say that. But let's get to that position first and get those frustrations. You'll understand, because the coach is what you do every week is repetition of the same thing. You're expecting that on the game to come out. And if it doesn't come out, you get frustrated. But it's just that I just hope that coaches will find better ways how to deal with these situations, because at the end of the day, if they're making mistakes, they're allowed to make mistakes and they want everybody to forgive them. So vice versa.
Yeah. And I mean, time will tell if Hlanti is the type of player who needs that tough love. I remember there was a game that Kobe Bryant played where he was missing every shot.
The GOAT.
Booed by the team that he spent his whole career with, came out the next game and balled out.
Yeah.
So hopefully Hlanti has the same sort of realization that, it's like...
And it's very surprising, Sloo, because Hlanti is one player that Gavin never speaks bad about. Never. Ever since Hlanti's been there. Ever. If you look at the subs, Hlanti's never been substituted. He's forever there. And even if when he does a mistake, I always look at
when he came back from injury, he went straight back.
Yeah.
Kikovic was doing a fantastic job on that. Came straight back in.
Yeah, Hlanti's always been one of the favorites for Gavin. So you'll understand when the coach gets frustrated, because you're one of his favorite players. So he's expecting more from you. That's why when I said Tyson considered that penalty, Gavin was so angry, because he's expecting more. Not because he's the captain, he's expecting more. You're the captain of the national team. You're expecting more. You're a senior player. There's more. So I think it's just bailing on frustration, because of the whole season they haven't been doing well. Consistency has been lacking within the team. On top of that, there's 2 players that are suspended also. So it just needs a lot of mixed masala salad today. Chuck luck.
This is the Car Wash on Laduma Radio. This is Hlanti.